Surah 22, Al-Hajj. By the one who is denoted by the name Allah, who created my being with his names in accord with the meaning of the letter B, the Rahman, the Rahim. O people, protect yourselves from your Rabb, from what he will enforce upon you as the consequences of your deeds. Now let's remember that the pronoun used in reference to God is not gendering God. The earthquake of that hour is tremendous indeed. When that time comes, every suckling nurser will forget the child she has suckled, and every pregnant woman shall drop her burden. The people will appear to be drunk, yet they will not be drunk. Intense is the wrath of Allah, and among the people are some who argue about the one referred to as Allah without any knowledge, and they follow every rebellious Satan, those with corrupted thoughts. About him, Satan, the idea of being only the body, it has been written, whoever follows him, indeed, he will lead him astray and guide him to the fire. O people, if you are in doubt of being resurrected to continue your life with a new form after death, then consider that we first created you from dust, then from a drop of sperm, and then a genetic structure, an embryo, and then a lump of flesh, half formed, half not. This we let you know openly and clearly. And we hold in the womb whom we will for a specified time, and then we bring you out as a child, and then provide you with whatever is necessary. For you to reach maturity, some of you are taken early in death, and some are left until he reaches the most decrepit age, forgetful of what he once knew. You will see the earth dead, but when we send water upon it, it will quiver and swell, and grow plants of every beautiful pair. He who enlivens the dead earth will also enliven you after your death. Now, when you do reach such states and such ages, you continue with your practice and all that, even if it doesn't seem like you're going to learn, This is how it is, for Allah is the truth, the clearly observable one. Indeed, he will enliven the dead with the knowledge of the reality, for he is Qadir, powerful over all things. That hour, death, will definitely come, there is no doubt about it, and Allah will definitely resurrect the beings, individual forms of consciousness, in their graves, bodies, to continue their lives through new bodies. And among the people are some who argue about the one referenced as Allah, without any knowledge about him, and without any true guidance, and without revelation, knowledge that projects from the reality of the names to one's consciousness. He turns his back to the reality to mislead the people from the way of Allah. There is disgrace for him in the world, and we will make him taste the suffering of the dreadful fire during doomsday. This is the result of what your hands have put forth. Indeed, Allah is never unjust to his servants. Allah is not the cause of your dual perception. It is the ego, or your constructed identity, that attributes a separate existence to itself, hence causing duality, shirk, which leads to suffering. And there are some among the people who accept his servitude to Allah in one aspect, in respect of what suits him. When he is touched by good, he is made joyful by it, but if he is touched by an affliction, he turns his back and denies his servitude. Such are the ones whose lives in this world and the next are lost. This is a clear loss indeed. He turns to things besides Allah, which neither benefit him nor harm him. This is a real deviation from the truth. He turns to things that have more harm than benefit. How wretched the protector, and how wretched the friend he deifies. Indeed, Allah will admit those who believe and fulfill the requirements of their faith to paradises underneath which rivers flow. Indeed, Allah does as he wills. He forms what he wills to manifest from his knowledge with power, knowledge, will, power. Whoever thinks Allah, the forces of the names within his essence, will not aid him in this world and the life to come, should turn to contemplation, to the sky, to his consciousness, and cut off his bodily tie from his consciousness, and see if the trap he has fallen into, by assuming he exists only of the body, can remove that which enrages him, the truth that he is the servant of his Rabb, Thus, we revealed him with clear signs. Allah enables observation of his innermost essential reality to whom he wills. Indeed, Allah will segregate the believers according to what they deserve, the Jews, the Sabians, who do not believe in Allah, but deify and worship the stars and other celestial bodies. Well, Sabian doesn't quite entirely mean that. The people of Iran generally did that, but the people who go back and forth and try to find the truth here and there, that varies, right? The Christians and the magicians, the Persians never were the Majus. The Persians never worship the fire. They worship in front of or with a fire, but they don't worship the fire. And honestly, the mountains of Iran, or the place where Zarathustra was a place where you could have frost, except for or snow, even for up to 10 of the months of the year. There are only 2 months where that wasn't even possible. Kind of like the mountains of Oregon and Washington. And the duelist, during doomsday, surely Allah is witness to all things. Do you not see that to Allah prostrates whoever is in the heavens and whoever is on the earth, the sun, the moon, the stars, the mountains, the trees, the moving creatures, and many of the people? But upon many the suffering has been justified, and he to whom Allah humiliates, for him there is no bestower of honor. Indeed, Allah does what he wills. And verse 18 is a verse of prostration. Face Mecca, put the nose and the hands and the knees and the feet square on the ground. The arms kind of at right angles, but if you're in a group, you put the elbows down at your sides, and you draw the hands closer to the head, where you even, the head in between, and you supplicate or say appropriate praises. These two opposing groups disputed about the rub. And for those who deny the knowledge of the reality, garments of fire have been cut and prepared for them, and boiling water will be poured over their heads. With that boiling water, their interior and their exterior will be melted, and there will be maces of iron for them every time they try to escape the irredeemable condition in which they find themselves after becoming aware of the reality. They will be returned to it and told, "Taste the pain of burning." Indeed, Allah will admit those who believe and fulfill the requirements of their faith to paradises underneath which rivers flow. There they will be adorned with golden bracelets and pearls. There their garments will be of silk. They will be guided to healthy thought and to the way of Hamid, the evaluation of what has been endowed. Indeed, those who deny the knowledge of the reality prevent others from the way of Allah and from Al-Masjid al-Haram, which has been made equal for its residents and for those coming from other places. Whoever does wrong by going against the requirements of the reality, we will make him taste the painful suffering. We prepared for Abraham the site of the house, saying, "Do not associate anything with me, and purify my house, for those who circumambulate it, turn to it standing upright with their ego identities, who prostrate without their ego identities, and who bow in submission. Proclaim to people that they experience the pilgrimage, invite them to the Baytullah, so that they come to you from near and far on every kind of vehicle, so that they witness its benefit for them, and let them sacrifice the animals. Remember we provided for them, and remember the name of Allah thereby. Eat from them, and feed the poor and the needy." And as we had with the eating of the food of the people of the book or whatever, it's not about the language used, it's the prayer appropriate in meaning that's said over the killing of the animal or the food. Then let them end the filth of their egos and fulfill their vows and circumambulate the ancient houses, honorable free house. And thus it is, whoever respects that which is respectable by Allah and fulfills its requirements, and this will be better for him in the sight of his Rabb, except that which with which you have been informed, livestock, camel, cattle, sheep, has been made lawful to you, so abstain from the filth of idols and fabrications. Do not associate anything to Allah, do not assume other gods besides Him. Whoever associates partners to Allah, one's essential reality, with His names, he is like one who has fallen from the sky and is snatched by a bird or carried away to a distant place by the winds. Thus it is, whoever respects and obeys the rules of Allah, indeed that is the result of consciousness seeking protection. There are benefits in them for you for an appointed time, then they will reach the ancient house, honorable free house, the house of Allah, the heart. And for every people we have appointed a place of worship as the requisite of the Rahman reality, that which you think of as God is the one possessor of Uluhiyya. So, become aware of your submission to Him and give good news to those who are susceptible to the awareness of submission and obedience. They are the ones, when the name Allah is mentioned, to whom its meaning generates awe in their consciousness. They are the ones who are patient against what afflicts them and who establish salat, ritual prayer, and give to others from the life sustenance with which we nourish them. And we have also made the camels from the laws of Allah for you. There is good in them for you when they are standing with one of their front legs tied. Remember Allah, and when they fall down, eat from them, and feed those who are present there, and whoever asks for it. Thus we have subjected them to you, so that you may be thankful. Neither their flesh nor their blood will ever reach Allah. It is your taqwa, benefits acquired through obedience, that reaches Him. Thus Allah has subjected them to you, that you may glorify Allah. Say takbir to the extent that He endows you with the realization of the reality. Give glad tidings to those who do good. Indeed, Allah will defend the believers. Indeed, Allah does not like the betrayers who betray a given trust, and the ungrateful who do not appreciate what they have been given. And the next two verses are the first two verses learned in regards to the fighting, war, whatever you want to call it, and everything after must be considered in that context. Permission to fight has been given to those who are attacked. This is because they have been wronged. Indeed, Allah has power, qadr, to grant them victory. They are those who have been unjustly driven out of their homeland only because they said, our Rabb is Allah. If Allah did not repel some people by means of others, surely the monasteries, churches, synagogues, and mosques in which the name of Allah is much remembered would have been demolished. Allah will surely help those who help, contemplate, exercise abstinence, and struggle for Him. Indeed, Allah is the Qawi, the strong, the Aziz, the mighty. And so the word for synagogue means spiritual oratory. It's broader than that. The word for church, again, even though we don't believe in hero shrines, I'm not sure the exact thing, but it's broader than that. Monasteries are pretty much everybody. So the purpose of war in Islam is self-defense and the defense of the places of worship of all faiths. And so the first passage in the Quran that people look at, towards what people say jihad is Surah Baqarah, ayat 190 to 195. So, these are the first 8 verses here, 38 to 40. If we give them a place on the land, they will establish salat, give alms, judge with integrity, and prevent from bad conduct. The outcome of all affairs belongs to Allah. If they deny you, know that the people of Noah, Ad, and Thamud had also denied, and the people of Abraham and Lot, and the people of Madian and Moses was also denied. So I gave respite to those who denied the knowledge of the reality, and then I seized them. How terrible was my recompense for denying me. There were many nations given to wrongdoing that we destroyed its roofs and walls collapsed upon itself. Only deserted wells and ruins of castles remain there now. Did they lack consciousness with which to evaluate and ears with which to perceive that they did not travel the earth and take a lesson? The truth is, it is not their eyes that are blind, but the inner eyes of their hearts within their brain that are blinded. They ask you to hasten the severing. Allah never fails in His promise. In the sight of your Rabb, the perception at the level of your essential reality manifested by the forces comprising your being. One day is like 1,000 earthly years. Allah knows best, but I believe this verse is in reference to the perception pertaining to the dimension of life after death. For your Rabb connotes the state of consciousness, the perception of time in one's brain, our cocoon reality, as a result of one's individual Rabb, our composition of names. This is not in reference to the Rabb of the worlds. There were many nations given to wrongdoing, to which I give respite. I seized them all. All things shall return only to me. Say, O people, I am indeed a clear warner for you. For those who believe and fulfill the requisites of their faith, there is forgiveness and a generous sustenance of life. As for those who strive to invalidate our signs, they are the people of hell. And we have not disclosed any Rasul, the informer of the reality, and Gnosis, or Nabi, one who conveys the divine laws, before you, whose Satan, ego identity forming his persona, has not, well, a corrupted persona, part of your psychology is part of your psychology, has not induced an idea as necessitated by his duty. When he conveyed, Allah renders the suggestions of Satan invalid and firmly establishes his own signs. Allah is the Alim, the Hakim, the knowing, the clement. And I'm never arguing with the Quran, I'm arguing with the comment or the translation. And it's just how it comes across to me. I would say for the most part, any issue with translations, unless something's wrong, like George O'Sale saying the cow was red instead of yellow for some odd reason. But that ego identity forming his persona, see the persona and the ego, the id, the shadow, all that stuff is not bad in itself. It's stuff that, can become corrupted. An idea that is induced by Satan from the ego consciousness produced by the effect of the amygdala is an object of trial for those who are devoid of healthy thought and those whose consciousness is covered, one whose essential agentic forces are blocked and who is indulgent of bodily and egotistic pleasures. Indeed, the wrongdoers are on a path without return. And also a lot of illusion and delusion, both about others' psychological or identity or whatever issues are your own, So yeah, Satan confuses us about that, and a lot of people say, yeah, their persona or their facade might be the better term for that. Indeed, the wrongdoers are on a path without return. As for those to whom knowledge has been given, let them know that what reflects to their consciousness is the truth from the Rabb, and let them believe in it, and let their consciousness be in awe of Him, Indeed, Allah will guide those who believe to the reality. As for those who deny the knowledge of the reality, they will remain in doubt of the truth of oneness until death comes to them suddenly, or the suffering of the period in which all hope will be lost. At that time, the sovereignty, the entire existence, will be for Allah. He will judge between them. Those who believe and engage in the necessary deeds will be in paradises of bliss. But those who deny the knowledge of the reality and our signs, there is a humiliating and disgracing suffering for them. As for those who migrate for the cause of Allah and are then killed or die, Allah will nourish them with a beauteous sustenance of life. Yes, indeed, Allah is who? He is the one who nourishes with the best sustenance. He will admit them to a life with which they will be well pleased. Indeed, Allah is the Alim, the Halim, the knowing, the clement. And thus it is, whoever retaliates to the same extent as he has suffered, and then is subject to suffering again, Allah will surely help him. Indeed, Allah is the Afu, the Ghafur. And thus it is, for Allah transforms the night into the day and the day into the night. Things continuously alternate between opposites. Indeed, Allah is the Sami'ah, the Basir, the hearing, the observing. Thus it is, for Allah is who? We're using that I am it way that some of those Eastern texts talk again in our translation way, instead of just saying God is He, He's the truth. The real existence, the things to which they turn besides Him, are delusive, inexistent things, assumed to exist by the individual consciousness due to its false data. Indeed, Allah is the Ali, the Kabir. And let us remember too that egregores may react upon real things, but some thought forms are put out there and people think that they're in themselves the real beings. Did you not see how Allah disclosed water from the sky and the earth became green? Indeed, Allah is the Latif, the Khabir, the subtle, the aware. Everything in the heavens and the earth is for Him, for observation of the qualities of the names. Indeed, Allah is the Qani, the Hamid, the sufficient, the praiseworthy. Did you not see how Allah subjected everything on the earth and the ships that sail on the sea to your service? He protects the sky from the collision of meteors, except what forms with His permission. Indeed, Allah is Ra'uf, gentle, and Rahim, merciful to mankind. It is who gave you life with consciousness. Then He will cause you, your ego self-identity, to die, and then give you life again, real and immortal life. Indeed, man has limited ability of evaluation. We've appointed for every community a way, an understanding, and style of worship. So let them not dispute with you on this matter. Do not argue, just invite them to your Rabb. Indeed, you are on a path that leads to the reality. If they argue with you, say, Allah, as the Creator, knows best what you do. Allah will judge between you on that which you argue about during doomsday. Okay, let me add some word to make that. Allah will judge between you about that which you argue during doomsday. Do you not comprehend that Allah knows everything in the heavens and the earth, as He comprises the essence of all things with His names? Indeed, they are all within the scope of His knowledge. Indeed, this is easy for Allah, yet they worship something besides Allah that has no power and about which they have no knowledge. There is no helper for the wrongdoers. When our verses are clearly recited to them, you will see the denial and refusal on the faces of those who deny the knowledge of the reality. It is almost as if they are going to attack those who inform them of our proofs. Say, shall I inform you of something worse than this? The fire that will burn you. Allah has promised it to those who deny the knowledge of the reality. How wretched a place of return it is. O people, Here is an exemplary lesson for you, so listen to it. Even if the things to which you turn besides Allah were to gather, they could not create even a fly, and if a fly was to snatch something away from them, they could not recover it from the fly. Helpless is the seeker and the sought. They did not justly appraise the manifestations of the qualities denoted by the name Allah. Indeed, Allah is the Qawi and the Aziz, one who is powerful and whose use of his power is unchallengeable. And if you're going to leave something in as a term, they should always give you some sort of a translation with the term. Allah selects messengers from both angels, light beings, the unfallen angels, the loyal host, shining ones, and mankind. Indeed, Allah is the Smi'a, the Basir, hearing, observing. He knows their future and their past. All affairs return to Allah. O believers, bow with awareness of His sovereignty everywhere, over every iota of existence, and prostrate feel the inexistence of your ego-based identity, and comprehend your servitude to your Rabb. Engage in truthful, righteous deeds so that you may attain liberation. And that is one of the 15 prostration passages, verse 77 there. So, face Mecca and prostrate. Strive for Allah as you should strive for His truth, not driven by the ego. He has chosen you and imposed upon you no hardship in the matter of religion, the religious understanding of the people of your father Abraham. Previously and today, He has given you the name Muslimin, those who have submitted, those who decipher the mechanics of the system and disclose unity, so that the Rasul, Muhammad, peace of God and prayers be upon him, the peace and prayers being that according to the way that God has set, and peace, God being the source of peace, and the benefit of the influence, and the explicit benedictions prayed upon Muhammad, and, the people who just prayed for the prophets in general. That's what's meant by the, because it says saw. It's like, how are we going to know what saw is? Can be a witness over you, and you can be a witness over mankind. So establish prayer, salat, and give alms, and connect wholly to Allah, your essential reality, with His names. He is your protector, your owner, and former of all your action, an excellent protector and an excellent helper.